Good evening, folks, and welcome to Deacon football action here on Shanley TV. Shanley taking on Wahpeton here tonight. Folks, we got a lot of football for you here tonight, but right now it is senior night, and those festivities are going on, so we'll take you to the field live right now for those.
Number 42, Austin Manuel, son of Jeff and Kim.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Deacon football action here on Shanley TV. It is senior night here for the Deacons, so we are just going to join that in progress right now. Check that out right now.
Number 53, Drew Jordahl, son of Chad and Angie. Number 57, Noah Johnson, son of Chris and Jackie. Number 66, Jake Pollard, son of John and Sharon. Number 80, August Grothman, son of Mark and Anna. And lastly, but definitely not least, the cheerleader, Cassie Simon, son of Cheryl and Phil. Once again, please join me with a round of applause for their commitment and hard work.
All right, folks, so that was the senior night festivities here for this last Shanley home game. Our apologies for joining that a little bit in progress, but we hope we got as much of that to you, tried to get as much of that to you as we could, so just wanted to get that out there. Again, it is the last home game here for the Deacons this season, and so it's also our last football broadcast of the year, but it's a great way to end the year, folks. We got Shanley taking on Wahpeton. These two teams have been in AA playing against each other for a while. They're longtime rivals. They've got a long history. The Huskies, just a few years ago, Braden, were a team that was really in contention. Lately, though, they've fallen on some hard times. They made the playoffs last year just barely. This year, outside looking in, won't be in the playoff picture, but they've got a chance to play spoiler here and knock off the #1 team in the state right now, the undefeated Shanley Deacons. No doubt, Braden, don't you think Wahpeton's got that in the back of their heads here?
Oh, for sure. They definitely want to win. But they also want to look at their younger players and see what the future holds for their team.
For sure. You know, when you got a season like this, only one win on the year for the Huskies. That came against Grafton. That's definitely one of the advantages, Braden. You get to play some of those younger guys, see what you've got for the next few years. But like I said, I think they've got some good veterans here who they're going to try to use to knock off this very strong Deacons team. We were talking about it before we got on air, Braden. This is a Wahpeton team. They've really been built to beat a team like Shanley. They're a power run sort of team. They dominate time of possession. That's something we're going to watch because that's a bad stylistic matchup with the Deacons. Folks, we're going to have a whole lot more analysis like that. We're going to break down this game a bit further, and then we'll get into the game in just a couple of minutes. For now, though, we are going to send things down to the PA announcer for the national anthem and prayer.
At this time, we'd ask you please rise as Father Charles LaCroix leads us in prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Father, all-powerful, never-living God, we do well always and everywhere to give you thanks. And we thank you for the great blessing of being able to gather here tonight for this contest. As always, we ask you to be with us, watch over us, and bless us and those that are near and dear to us. Keep the players free from injury and harm. Allow them to play to the best of their ability. Reward them for their efforts. May everything that happens here give you great glory. And when the evening is complete, help us to arrive at our homeward destinations in safety. And finally, we ask you to bless and reward the parents of the players of both teams. Reward them for their dedication, their devotion, their support, and most of all, their love. We pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus, by the power of your Holy Spirit. You are God forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please remain standing, remove all headwear, and place your hand over your heart as we honor America with the playing or the singing of our national anthem. Tonight's anthem will be performed by Mark Noah.
Oh, so can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose vast stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Don't go anywhere, folks. High school football action is next after a brief word from our sponsors.
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Beyond Boundaries Therapy Services, Butler Machinery, Ed's Marine. This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Beyond Boundaries Therapy Services, Butler Machinery, Ed's Marine, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Haley's Hope, Hurley's Religious Goods, Luther Family Buick GMC, Master Construction, Moore Engineering, Network Center, Northern Improvement, Off the Wall Advertising, Robert Gibb and Sons, Sanford, Shields, Taxman, TCI Insurance, and Wolf Steel Construction.
Welcome back to North Dakota High School football action here on Shanley TV. I'm Jed Thomas, of course, joined by my partner Braden Altringer as we are getting set for Shanley's final home game of the season. The Deacons taking on the Wahpeton Huskies here. And Braden, let's get right into it. We talked a little bit before the break here about this game from a team perspective, but why don't you break down some of the key individuals who you see making a big impact tonight?
On Wahpeton's side, it's their starting quarterback, the junior Isaac Wohlers. He's the leader of the offense and is really that key of the run game for them. For Shanley, it's their linebacking core who's going to try to stop that run game in Johnson, Manuel, and Machenbacher. I think it's just going to be a great game by both teams here tonight.
Yeah, Braden, I could not agree more. Certainly, those are some big key players. One guy, though, I want to talk about, Braden, because he is listed on my roster in front of me. Number 73, Brett Gilbertson. He's listed as Brett, all capitals, Beast Gilbertson. So Brett Beast Gilbertson, the O-line and D-lineman, 5'10", 256, a big guy looking to make a big impact. And that really kind of goes to show what Wahpeton is from that team perspective. They're a big team up front. They've got some big guys who have some experience. They're going to be looking to clear holes for their strong run game. They're a run-heavy team.
Yeah, it's going to be a great challenge for Shanley's defensive line here. Whoever wins that battle in the trenches, I believe is going to win this ball game, Jed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, Braden. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. Shanley, the roadmap to beating Shanley pretty much lies in the power run. Teams that can control time of possession, control the point of attack, and just kind of throttle that ball down the middle of the defense, that's usually where teams find their most success against Shanley. And seeing as that's basically Wahpeton's entire offense, I would have to imagine that they should have some success there. Keyword should.
I believe they will too, and especially with tonight, I don't think they're going to try to pass the ball once, maybe a few times, but with this weather, both teams are going to have to run the ball.
Yeah, that is another factor, Braden, that we certainly got to talk about. Weather going to make a big impact. Of course, there was snow on the ground, but that melted off, and that's good news for Shanley. That means you're not going to have a slippery ball. Good news for both teams, but Shanley being that pass-heavy type of team, that's going to be real nice. The cold, though, going to be a factor. A cold football, Braden, you and I both know it's a lot harder to catch a colder football.
Yeah, it's a lot. It feels like a rock almost, as described as some of the football players out there.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it. It comes into your hands feeling a lot harder than it does on a warmer day, and it can really have an impact. You can get receivers jamming fingers and stuff like that. So it's certainly something to watch for. The good news, though, for Shanley is they've got a run game, especially with Cade Busick, much more of a running quarterback than a passing quarterback. He likes to carry the ball a lot. He carried over 30 times against Valley City. And so if that pass game isn't going, they can use that run game to still control on offense. Of course, Cade Busick is playing due to an injury to Caden Kuhneman. Kuhneman suffered a season-ending foot injury against Central Cass a couple of weeks ago. Braden, what have you thought about the way Busick has replaced Kuhneman in this offense? How has that impacted the team as a whole?
Busick has really taken on that challenge. As a whole, I don't think it's affected the team too much because Kuhneman's still on that sideline, coaching up his players and Busick there.
Yeah, that is a good point there, Braden. Caden Kuhneman, obviously a leader, on the field and off the field. Even though he's laid up, he's certainly still a big member of that locker room, a senior providing a lot of leadership, providing some tutelage to some of the younger quarterbacks on the team. So Kuhneman, like you said, still going to have an impact from the sidelines. He's one of those guys that can really just do whatever you need him to do. So I think we've, analyzed about as much as we can here, Braden. At a certain point, you just have to play the game, and we're now seconds away from doing so. Getting ready to kick this ball off here is Matthew Machenbacher. Machenbacher, the junior, pretty much the full-time kicker here for the Deacons. Andy Clark handles the punting for them. And with that whistle, we're set, and we're underway with the kick from Matt Machenbacher. Goes over the hands of a Husky up front and then rolls out of bounds. So a nice start there for Wahpeton. as it looks like they're going to get the ball out a little bit further there thanks to the penalty.
And, Jed, we're going to have to keep our eye on that because I'm not sure if it was last week or 2 weeks ago that we saw that from Machenbacher a couple of times.
Yeah, Machenbacher has struggled with that. There is also a decent wind blowing here today, and that is the direction the ball got pushed out, so that's something to watch. Munizero, the speedster for Wahpeton, number 4 back there, didn't even get a chance to field that one. He's a guy we'll have to watch for. He's got good legs, fast guy on the outside. Look for him to get involved. So we'll get our first look at this Wahpeton offense. Isaac Wohlers out there at quarterback. He likes to carry the ball a good deal. And let's see what they do. Wohlers in shotgun, hands the ball off up the gut, and a nice gain of maybe 1 or 2. Was able to fall forward, so perhaps got a little bit of extra yardage that time. Jake Poff on the carry. Number 83 there in the backfield. Not too often you see 83 carrying the ball as a running back.
No, normally you see him on the line, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do if you have a tall player.
Absolutely. So wearing that number 83, basically what we mean is you can line up in a whole bunch of positions. Not typically at running back, but nothing saying you can't, as Poff will carry once again, and maybe a yard or 2 short of the first down. So that's about how you want the first 2 plays to go if you're a team like Wahpeton. When you run heavy like that, you're really just trying to set up a 3rd and manageable, and with a 3rd and 1, that's exactly what you did. So big 3rd down coming here. Shanley, they've forced a lot of opponents to 3 and outs on opening possessions this season. Will tonight be different? Let's see. Wohlers in shotgun, misdirection in the backfield. He gives it to Poff, who's got space. Poff finds a seam and falls forward for a nice gain. He got 6 or 7 there when he only needed 1. And Braden, you know, this is exactly what Wahpeton needed to do to start this game off. Poff has been running that ball well. The misdirection, confusing the Deacon defense a little bit.
And with your offense on the field, you want to get that first down right away. But if you're the defense, you want to get that stop. And Shanley didn't get that stop, so they're going to need to get a couple tackles here to maybe get the ball back.
Well, we know that defense is capable of game-changing plays at any time as Wohlers goes to Poff once again. Poff with good blocking, a nice little side step, and a gain of 4 or 5. And Braden, I'm really impressed with the initial push that Wahpeton is getting up front. Their line, we knew they'd be a strong point of this team, but they've impressed so far. Yeah,
normally Shanley's always winning that battle, but with them losing, they're kind of on different shoes, and they don't really... they aren't used to it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, you can get caught off guard like that, and I certainly think that's something that Shanley might be experiencing right now. Also got to keep in mind some big injuries up front. Jake Pollard was lost in the St. Mary's game a couple weeks ago. The senior started both ways, so he's a big loss there. And holy cow, Wohlers going nowhere, lit up in the backfield. There were 3 or 4 Deacons right on top of him that time. Noah Johnson leading the charge there. And this play had no chance. And that was actually Joe Cava who really got the penetration there and broke through.
Yeah, the Deacons read that play really well and gang tackle and got the stop.
And we see that a lot from Shanley. That's that dominant physicality up front. Joe Cava demonstrating it there. He does that on a lot of plays. So 3rd and 10, very difficult for a team that doesn't pass much. They're going to try it, though. Here, play action. Man open downfield. It was Darwin. He had him. It was a well-placed ball by Wohlers. Through the hands of Darwin, though. And boy, Braden, that is tough. That was almost a huge conversion for Wahpeton. Like I said, they don't pass much. If they could have converted that, would have been a big momentum play.
Yeah, that would have gained their confidence so much more.
All right, so Huskies will look to punt here. Back to receive is Andy Clark for Shanley, but that ball not going too far. It'll fall inside the 30, so that's where the Huskies will down it. And that's another thing that this cold weather will do. That was Nick Bronson punting, and when it's cold like that, that ball's a lot harder to get some good leg on. It gets very tough, very hard. Sometimes feels like you're punting a brick out there. .9:10 left to go here in the first quarter as the Deacons will come out for their first offensive possession. Doubles formation look. Cole Frederick's going to join Busick in the backfield. Busick in shotgun. Hoffer goes in motion. Hoffer now open in the flat, and he is brought down immediately. A fantastic tackle in the backfield by Munazaro. And what I say, Braden, Desi Munazaro, just great speed, great agility, and you saw him get back there right away.
Yeah, Hoffer had no chance on the outside as Munazaro closed in right away.
Able to diagnose that one immediately, and that's a good start defensively for Wahpeton. Let's see if Shanley can recover, though. Doubles formation again. Busick drops back. Hoffer wide open there on the little curl route. He sidesteps Munazaro. And in the battle between those two, it's now 1-1 as Hoffer gets a great gain to redeem that earlier defensive play.
And Jed, I'm a little surprised by those first two play calls. I know Shanley is a passing and running team, but with this weather, I was expecting them to come out and run the ball right away.
Yeah, me too, Braden, but I suppose that's why they're doing what they're doing out there, you know. Maybe catching Wahpeton off guard, passing right away, also just kind of getting your team settled in for the pass. I like the nice, easy screen passes. Here as Busick fires a bullet to a wide-open Hoffer. And boy, here's one thing I'm noticing, Braden. That size advantage for Hoffer is serious over Munazaro. I mean, Hoffer has easily got 5 or 6 inches in height over the 5'6" Munazaro.
And you can already tell the coaching staff told Cade Busick, because that's the third target to Hoffer today.
Yeah, Hoffer, they're clearly looking to get him involved early. That is one thing to watch. Shanley's got tall receivers, and Wahpeton does lack height with their D-backs, as now Hoffer will look to bring this screen upfield. He finds the edge, and that's a good gain of 7 or 8. Shanley offense firing on all cylinders to start things off. Not a single run yet. And we know that's the way Troy Mattern likes to do things. He pass-happy kind of guy, pass-first type of offense. Again, we thought we'd see more of a running sort of situation here with Cade Busick in, but not the case, and it's working out well for him. Trips right flanker, left pitch out to Fredericks. Fredericks going to find the edge, and he's forward for an easy first down. Fredericks not only has great speed on the edge, but he's also got great vision. And you saw that there as he knows exactly where to cut up there. Just a solid gain for the Deacons to give him a fresh set of downs. Two receivers right, 2 left. Busick in shotgun. He drops back, looking downfield. Contested ball, Darwin with tight coverage. And it didn't matter. That ball was a little too far to the right and a little too far in front and ends up out of bounds. And I believe that was intended for Braden DeKaiser on the outside. He's another one of those tall receivers. Hoffer at about 6'2", 6'3", DeKaiser at about 6'2". And you'll see they had Darwin on DeKaiser all alone there in man. And that's what they're going to have to do. Unfortunately, there aren't many other Josh Darwins out there to play that corner position. I'm sure Wahpeton would love to have all their corners have his height, but it is what it is. So they're going to have to find a way to make up for that height discrepancy, as now Busick will carry on the draw, and those QB runs, that's the bread and butter of this offense when Cade Busick is in there. They love those design quarterback run plays.
Yeah, and they're going to stick to that design quarterback run, like you said, if it works.
We mentioned earlier Busick had 30-plus carries against Valley City in the last game Shanley played. And those were a lot of designed runs and a lot of option plays that Busick had all those carries on, and he's usually effective running that football. As we got another screen out to Hoffer. The Huskies sniffed it out, but Hoffer made some nice moves before taking a big hit there. Was good enough for the first down, though. Coming in to make the tackle that time was Dylan Jost. And boy, Braden, Shanley's just picking Wahpeton apart with these little screen passes. The Huskies seem to know they're coming. They just can't really stop them right now.
And I think you got to give credit to the wide receivers. They're getting on their blocks and pushing them back a couple yards.
For sure. So now doubles formation. Busick pitches out to Fredericks. Fredericks trying to find the edge. He's got a head of steam now, turning it upfield. But the ball is out, and it is covered up by the Shanley O-line. A couple members of that offensive line hopped on it. Not sure who exactly. If I can see a number. Maybe see on the replay here. Yeah, I think Noah Johnson and Andy Clark, actually, the receiver, got there. Andy Clark, there's a guy whose name you might hear tonight. He catches a lot of interceptions. That's kind of his thing. He's been a lockdown corner for Shanley when they've needed him. And Wahpeton doesn't pass a lot, but if they do, it'll be tough to test Clark as Busick will carry for the touchdown. And just like that, the Deacons are on the board. Just making it look easy there, Braden.
Yeah, that hole was bigger than any hole I've seen tonight. I mean, that was just too easy for the Deacons there.
Yeah, and Busick with the head of steam. That's a tough tackle for Wohlers to make there. And again, that size difference with those defensive backs for the Huskies, that's serious. I mean, there are 3 guys back there who are only about 5'6", 5'7", and that's a lot of guys to have, you know, at only that 5'6", 5'7" range. So that's something that Shanley's going to look to exploit as now they try the fake PAT. Clark just going to heave one up there, and it's picked off by Darwin in the end zone. So an interesting decision there, Braden, to go for 2 here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if that was more designed or if they just kind of had to throw it up off the bad snap.
I think it was designed. The way that played out, you know, it looked like there were some blocks there for Clark. It looked like they had, you know, eligible receivers in there. Oftentimes when it's a busted play, you get some linemen who end up where they shouldn't be. So interesting. I think maybe they were trying to rehearse a play they might need in the postseason there. Also, you know, just trying to jump out to a bigger lead early, try and put this game away as soon as they can. Doesn't work that time, though, and so it's only a 6-0 lead. And that's always tough, Braden, you know, no matter how well you're playing, no matter how, you know, well that scoring drive goes. And that scoring drive was excellent for Shanley. It's always tough to not cap off a touchdown with a PAT. You know, it's only 1 point, but it kind of deflates your team, you know?
It definitely does, but I would have to go back to what you said. I think it was more they were more experimenting for later on in the season when that's going to be a crucial play for them.
Certainly, I would imagine that's just what they were trying there. So, Machenbacher is out to kick once again. Going to try to keep this one in bounds. Punches it down the middle of the field. It stays in. It was mishandled there for a minute by Munazaro. And now he's charging up the middle of the field. Breaks a couple tackles. And he's down at around the 26. So we're going to get our second look at the Wahpeton Husky offense. And Braden, what do you expect out of them here? I think we're just going to see more of that power run.
Oh, for sure. We're going to see some inside runs, maybe an outside run here or there.
Right, a couple of misdirection plays again, maybe with Poff just trying to see what he can get. He was an effective runner for them early. Let's see if they can duplicate the success they had on their opening possession. A flag that I think will actually be going against Shanley based on early indications. And yeah, it looks like we've got a neutral zone infraction or something like that against Shanley. So that's a good start for Wahpeton, Braden. I mean, that sets up a 1st and 5.
Yeah, that definitely opens up the playbook. I mean, they can stick with their run if they want to, but they can look for Josh Darwin going down the field here on the outside.
Right, you can maybe try a 1st down play, see if you can get close to the 1st, then maybe try something on 2nd, and it still leaves you with a 3rd manageable. Shortens the distance to the sticks, though. It just makes things a lot easier, opens up your playbook, like you said. And we got more movement on the line. And Shanley's pointing at Wahpeton, and so Wahpeton's going to give those 5 yards right back. So not what you want if you're the Huskies there, Braden. Not at all how you want to capitalize on that penalty.
No, for both teams, that's just not a good start to the drive. You really want to stay error-free in a game like this.
Folks, an update from some other AA action around the state. Valley City was leading Watford City 8-0, about a third of the way through the first quarter last time we checked. And we also want to give a shout-out to Lynn Swenson, who's tuning in. Lynn, thank you for watching, one of our loyal viewers, as Poff will take this carry up the right side for another nice gain. That's 6 or 7 for Poff, and now we got a late flag.
Poff on the carry for the Huskies. Where's the penalty?
And it looks like the Wahpeton Huskies are backing up, so it must be a holding against them.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a late flag. But yeah, that is the call there, Braden. So that's tough. I mean, that's another nice run play for Wahpeton, but it's going to come back because of the penalty. And right now, it's really just self-inflicted errors that are harming the Huskies.
Yeah, and that's 2 penalties you don't want. And normally they're pretty good about not giving yards back, but I guess tonight is just not their night so far.
So far, that is the case, Braden. And that really backs them up. You can see it's now 1st and 20. Not too often you see a 1st and 10 go to a 1st and 5, back to a 1st and 10, then to a 2nd and 3, and now to a 1st and 20.
Yeah, that's crazy. We haven't even had a play that counted yet on this drive.
Exactly. So, 1st and 20 really shortens up the playbook for Wahpeton, as Wohlers will roll out, And there was some misdirection back there. I think Poff was actually carrying the ball. No, he was on the fake to the right side. I got to be honest, I don't know who had that on. Looked like a bit of an outside reverse type of play. Whatever it was, though, it did not work for him, Braden.
No, I like the design there to get some misdirection, but maybe next time they'll just get a couple more blocks, maybe get that outside and upfield.
Right, and no, I agree with you. I like the creativity. And it looks like they'll give them more like 3 or 4 yards here, so it was a gain of something. But, yeah, you got to reach into your playbook here, go a little deeper, and then try to open it up when it's first and so long. Wohlers, play action, going downfield. He's got Poff. Hoffer had the pick, just could not hold on to it. Still a nice defensive play, but Hoffer so close to reeling it in.
And I know Hoffer really wanted that one. He doesn't have an interception on the season yet, but last year he did have a couple.
Yeah, he was a big-time ball hawk for the Deacons last year, and so tough for him not to have an interception. But, you know, sometimes that means that you're playing even better defense because that means they start targeting you. That was a tough play, though. Wohlers had all sorts of protection, which you're not going to get very often against Shanley, and so it was too bad there. He just shorted that a little bit.
Yeah, and not only that, but the secondary for the Deacons did a great job covering the receivers for Wahpeton.
Yeah, that was lockdown coverage there for the Deacons. So now we're looking at 3rd and 16, and we got a whistle and a timeout. Looks like it's going to be taken by Wahpeton.
Yeah, the play clock was kind of winding down there, so I'm not sure Wohlers didn't see that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate here to burn a timeout. I mean, obviously you want to get the right play call in on a 3rd and 16 situation, but at the same time it's a 3rd and 16, so your odds of getting it, even if you get that perfect play call, aren't exactly great.
Yeah, that's a tough timeout to burn there, but I think they're going to find a play here to get at least a couple of yards so they can get a good punt off, or, in fact, get the first down here.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think they know that they've got to be effective early, you know, if they want to compete in this game. So maybe it is the right situation. You know, 3rd and 16, you don't convert it very often, but if they did, you know, obviously a huge momentum swing. So Huskies hopefully do have that perfect play call now after taking the timeout. Whistle blows, and now both teams get set. Wohlers in shotgun. Wohlers going to drop back. He looks to his left right away, firing over the middle of the field. Hoffer had it again and just could not snag it. And I don't know where that ball was going, Braden.
I had no clue either, but I think that might have just been from the weather. The hands are so cold and the ball's like a rock.
I think he was intending that ball for Poff and just sailed it a little bit.
Yeah, there was about 4 Deacons in the area. I don't think he would have had a chance to complete that there.
And, you know, to be fair to Wohlers, he didn't have many options, but still not what you want is now the Huskies punt once again. That one almost got blocked. Cava got back there. This ball going to bounce across the 50, and it's going to be knocked forward and then down at about the 45-yard line. So Shanley with excellent field position here, as they so often have, with 4:27 left to go in the first, leading 6-0. So the Shanley offense coming back out. Interestingly enough, Hoffer, a bit of a butterfingers on defense, but rock solid on offense with the hands. So just kind of funny there. But no, like I was saying, he's been really good, a great weapon for them offensively so far, Braden.
Yeah, that's been a little surprising on defense that he dropped that to. I'm just curious if he's a little hungry to get that first interception on the season.
Yeah, maybe a bit of the yips going here as Manuel takes the pitch, and he's going forward hard. Austin Manuel up the right side. He might be gone, lowering the shoulder and into the end zone. That's a one-play touchdown for the senior.
And you don't hear his name quite much in the backfield so far this year because they're more of a pass-heavy team with Cade Busick running the ball.
Yeah, Austin Manuel doesn't get the call often, but when he does, he makes it count. And oofta, he lowers the shoulder on Manazaro that time. That is a big-time run from Manuel. And yeah, like you said, Braden, usually it's Busick carrying or Fredericks or Buckles. Manuel doesn't often get the call, but man, he might have just made the case to get a whole lot more carries as Busick fires immediately to the corner of the end zone looking for Hoffer, and it's too high. So Shanley doing a great job scoring the touchdowns, getting the point after, though, not so much.
Yeah, I'm just not so sure they're experimenting, like I said earlier, about for getting ready for later in the season, but at some point you just want to get the points for this game.
Right, yeah. I mean, considering they're up now 2 touchdowns, they made it look pretty easy. They're probably not overly concerned, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, eventually you might just want to start kicking it because their luck has not been there on the 2-point conversion plays. And you got to give credit there, too, to the Shanley offensive line. They opened up a great hole for Manuel. Good vision, though, from Manuel. He saw it really well, but the hole was there. He saw it, and that was just, I mean, pretty much everybody did the right thing on that play for Shanley.
Yeah, for sure. That was a team effort. Manuel had great vision. Deacons' offensive line won the battle in the trenches, and they got the touchdown.
So Wahpeton now really finding themselves in trouble, down 12-0. And interestingly enough, you know, their offense has been there. It's been kind of weird how things have played out. They played better than I think the box score would indicate right now. But, I mean, all that matters is that you get points on the board, and they haven't done that yet. You know, the box score doesn't get you the win, as now Munazaro bobbles that one, bringing it upfield, up the middle, and he didn't even make it back to the 20 that time. Good coverage on the kickoff by Shanley.
Yeah, he had absolutely nowhere to go there with 5 Deacons surrounding him.
So Wahpeton offense going to come back out now. They're backed up at their own 20. Trailing 12-0 now. The offensive line has looked better than the defensive line, Braden. I will say that.
And that is a little surprising because when 2A football, both offensive linemen normally play defensive line as well.
Right, yeah, you've got a lot of offensive linemen going back the other way. So for whatever reason, though, they're a bit of a better unit on offense, it seems like, at least so far. Let's see if that continues, though, if they can continue that trend here and continue to get some good runs. Wohlers fakes the handoff, and he keeps it himself now. Wohlers with a big opening, bringing it up the near side, trying to cut back. Machenbacher got him from behind and threw him down, but not before Wohlers got out to the 40. Big carry for the QB.
And he was able to get down the field so far due to the block by Josh Darwin on the outside there.
Yeah, that was great blocking on the outside, like you said. Darwin, the big man, that's another benefit of his big frame as a receiver. He's able to get the block out there and hold it. He's strong, he's physical, and so they'll run to his side a lot, you'll see in Wahpeton's games. One receiver left, one right. Wohlers in shotgun, and he's going to hand off to Poff here. Poff trying to cut back. Ran right into the arms of a Deacon tackler, Johnson that time, but he's still got a gain of about 6 or 7. And folks, want to give another shout out here to Tammy, a class of 53 Shanley grad. Tammy, thank you very much for tuning in. So Braden, 2 great plays on offense here for Wahpeton. And right now, the Deacons don't have much of an answer for their run game.
They really don't. It's that one play that's hurt them a couple of times here. I'm not so surprised if Wahpeton would just run the same play just to the opposite side of the field here.
Yeah, well, the key against Shanley, Braden, is you really got to have a diverse playbook. Even if you're a one-dimensional, run-the-ball-only type of team, you still have to have a lot of run plays because Shanley, sometimes they get caught off guard early. We saw it against St. Mary's. We've seen it against a lot of teams, but they'll figure out your go-to plays sooner rather than later, so you got to be able to change it up. So Wohlers now with misdirection. He goes to Poff. Poff found an opening. He's being drugged down, still on his feet. And he got 2 or 3 that time. I think they'll mark him a few inches short of the first down. Cole Fredericks got in there for Shanley. You can see there he grabs onto a leg and he does not let go. Austin Manuel in there to clean it up. And I think they're actually going to give him the first down. So they give him a nice spot there. It was a matter of inches. I could see it, I could see it being short. I could see it going. I think it was pretty darn close. So, fresh set of downs, 2:37 left in the first quarter. The give now to Munazaro. It looked like he lost that for a second. I think he did hang on to it, though. Got to be careful, though. Crown of a helmet came right in there for a second.
And, Jed, that was the same play we saw just a couple plays ago with a different player, but I'm surprised Shanley didn't get used to it because normally once you run a play and beat them down the field, they're going to get used to it and make that stop the next time.
Right, Braden. So far, so good, though. So 2nd and 5, and this is exactly the type of drive Wahpeton wanted. They're eating up clock. They're running the ball right down Shanley's throat. They're using a lot of different plays. They're changing things up. They're looking good. So Wohlers now has some blockers trying to salvage this play, but he's going to get brought down for a loss of 1 or 2. So right as I was saying how good this drive's going, first negative play takes place.
And I'm not so sure there was some miscommunication in the backfield there. It looked that he was supposed to hand it off to running back, but ended up keeping it up the middle.
So 1:35 left to go here in this first quarter. 3rd and 6 now. Critical third down coming up here for Wahpeton. 1 receiver left, 1 right. Wohlers in shotgun. Wohlers going to give to Poff. Poff trying to find the edge, and he's got it. Poff falling forward for the first down for Wahpeton. Now with 1:12 left to go here in the first quarter, Braden, and Wahpeton is rolling. That's a huge third down conversion.
Yeah, and that's the same play we've been talking about for the past couple of minutes. Shanley needs to figure out how to stop that play.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talked about how running the same play doesn't work well against the Deacons. They figure it out sooner rather than later. Not the case right now. I mean, they just don't have an answer, and Wahpeton knows it. So coming to the line now with a fresh set of downs is that Husky offense. Shanley really crowding the line there. They know what to expect. Wohlers takes the snap. It's a pitch inside. A dangerous play with some misdirection. It was gutsy, but man, that could have been bad.
Yeah, I thought the Deacons were just going to take it right out of the air and get the scoop and score.
I mean, there was no space in there, Braden, for that pitch to go. And like I said, gutsy, but was it smart?
Yeah, I thought he should have maybe just held on to it and went down and get ready for the next play there.
That was Kobe Timian that time, who was stopped for a loss of maybe 1. So 2nd and 11 now. Here's Poff with it. Poff trying to find the edge. Not going to get there, though. Excellent tackle that time. I think, was that Leo Hansen who got in there, Braden?
I believe that was, but again, that was the same play, and it looked like Shanley had an answer on that play.
Yeah, and credit there to Hansen. Leo Hansen, more of a rotational lineman for the Deacons this year, but he got after it that play.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're just trying to get him some minutes or if someone's hurt or what's the deal there.
Well, you know, they suffered that injury here, and I should say we've ended the first quarter now, so we got Wahpeton driving here as Shanley leads 12-0. An update from AA action. Valley City up 14-0 over Watford. Jamestown and Devils Lake tied 0-0. Both those games, the first quarter just ended. So we'll try to keep you updated there. But yeah, you know, Braden, I think we're seeing Leo Hansen here in large part because of the injury to Jake Pollard. I think that's playing a big role. We know Evan Bubak is still banged up from an injury he suffered in the scrimmage against Davies. Braden Block doesn't play much D-line. Simon Bowden has a torn ACL. They're pretty beat up front right now, and they're playing a team that really likes to battle there in the trenches.
Yeah, they're hurting on that defensive line, so I'm guessing they're just trying to get a couple of guys from the linebacker core like Noah Johnson, who plays offensive line, trying to get him some reps on defensive line.
Right, and Johnson, you know, from that linebacker position, what we're seeing a lot of, you know, they're rotating in the D-linemen, but they're also bringing their linebackers down into that three-point stance. They're putting them up on the line, and Johnson, we know, he's a big guy. He can easily do that. Austin Manuel as well has been doing that.
And just like you said there, they might just be switching up the defensive coverage to suit Wahpeton's offensive tonight.
Certainly, I think we're seeing that. So here's a big 3rd and 11 now. Wahpeton trying to continue what has been their most successful drive so far. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Poff, and he's just not going anywhere that time. And it's an unfortunate end to what had been a very promising drive, Braden.
Yeah, that was a very promising drive. I know you might not get points out of this drive, but you got to be gaining some confidence going into these next couple of drives.
And you know, Braden, we might see them go for it here. I know it's 4th and 10. I know they don't pass a lot, but I still like this call.
I love this call. And this, both teams, no matter what, if it's Shanley or Wahpeton, they would both go for it here.
So here's Wahpeton now at the Shanley 42, going for it on 4th and 10. Wohlers drops back, pressure coming, fires downfield, and Hoffer finally gets the pick that he'd been looking for. How about it, Braden?
I mean, that's what you want to see there if you're Hoffer. I mean, finally getting the yips out and getting that first interception. I bet he'll calm down here and might get another one tonight, or at least a couple more before the end of the season.
Yeah, he's really feeling it right now, and I hate to say it, but Wohlers has given him plenty of chances here.
Yeah, it could have been at least 2 or 3 interceptions. He's just got to be lucky it's only been 1.
And, you know, to be fair, to Wohlers, the QB. And actually, before I get to that, we want to update you from a big game. St. Mary's is leading Central Cass right now 7-0 at the end of the first. We're going to try to keep you updated there. That's a big game.
That's a huge game, Jed. That could mean home playoff advantage there.
Right. There's a lot on the line. That's a difference between the 2 and the 3 seed right now, potentially. And it looks like we got a penalty against the Deacons to start things off here, so that's a good start for Wahpeton at least. And you know, Braden, we should say that's actually about as well as that 4th down conversion attempt could have gone. It actually, unfortunately for Townhofer, would have been better for him to bat that ball down, because it's basically like a really good punt now as Shanley's pinned within their own 20.
Yeah, you normally don't want to throw an interception, but like you said, in that case, that was probably the best thing that could have happened for Wahpeton.
So Busick faking that screen pass, looking downfield, wide open as can be. Oh, no! I mean, you can't get more open than that. Busick put the ball on the money, and I could not see the number.
I believe it was Clark out there.
I think it was.
Maybe he's getting a couple of yips from Hoffer now. They're transferring the yips.
And Braden, I'm just so stunned because Andy Clark, he is the rock of the Shanley skill position players. He does not make mistakes like that. I think he was too open that time.
I think he was too. He just saw the end zone and got a little nervous.
I mean, wow, you will not see guys that open very often, and now a hard run for Shanley that time. I think that was Carter Kochman actually carrying the ball that time for Shanley. And there's a guy who we've been kind of waiting for to get some varsity time, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah, he's kind of been on the bubble all season. It looks like he's finally going to get his time to play.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's gone in, you know, he's the first member of the second unit to go out there, you know. He's right on that fringe, like you said, and finally now he's playing with all the starters, all the first team members. So it's 3rd and 12 right now, as Shanley's got 3 men out to the right, and well, all right, they were going out 5 wide, but Troy Mattern didn't like it, and he took a timeout. And that's not surprising. Troy Mattern, on these big downs like this, he takes those timeouts very liberally.
Yeah, he doesn't like to wait to use those timeouts until the last 2 minutes of the quarter. He wants to use them when the Deacons need them most. But I would like to say here, I think Troy Mattern's going to just try to get a ton of yards here on 3rd down, so that's going to set up a 4th and short, because, you know, they love going forward on 4th down.
And, folks, we're going to give another shout-out here to Doreen Scher from Great Falls, Montana, and Glenn Lyer from Portland, Oregon, who are tuning in tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. And, folks, if you're tuning in, watching the game tonight, please get in contact with us on social media. We'll try to give you a shout-out here on air. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere. Just hit us up. We'll try to shout you out. So 10:25 remaining here as the Deacons have taken this time out to figure out the right play call here on a 3rd and 12, way back in their own territory. So they're going to go with that 5 wide look. They motioned into it before calling the timeout, and they're just going to go with it right away now.
With all 5 wide receivers being split out wide, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a quarterback draw here just to see if the middle is open.
Well, they faked the screen pass. It is a screen, though, to Buckles, and it's not going anywhere. Wahpeton shuts it down immediately, and that is well defended, Braden.
Yeah, just like we said earlier, Wahpeton almost gave it to Shanley on that pitch. He almost dumped it off there to, who was that, number 73 there, a defensive lineman.
Yeah, that was 73, Brett Beast Gilbertson. Please, Braden, remember that's Brett Beast Gilbertson, and I see why they call him that. That's a big guy, and that looked like a hit that hurt.
Yeah, that definitely hurt there for Buckles.
So look at this. Shanley's going for it here on 4th and 6. Busick rolling out, pitches to Manuel. Manuel cuts back, spinning forward, and no, sir. Wahpeton stops him well short. And Braden, Shanley just gave the ball back to the Huskies inside their own 25-yard line.
Yeah, that play call surprises me there. Normally, Shanley likes to go for it on 4th down, but inside your 20-yard line, I don't think that's a good play call there.
You know, I would say it surprises me, Braden, but at this point, I don't think anything can really surprise me from Troy Mattern. Play calling wise, he just trusts his defense. He trusts his defensive coordinator, Steve Huber, to take care of business, and he's not worried about this, I would think.
It's good to have that trust in your defense, but getting that 4th down stop gets some confidence in the Wahpeton offense.
Certainly. Well, not a great start for the Wahpeton offense, although that's actually a gain of 3 or 4. That play was done well there. Munazaro, good patience in the backfield that time. It looked like it was going to be blown up, but he waited for his blocks to develop and got a gain of 3 or 4. And it is interesting, Braden. This is not the ideal situation for Wahpeton with the offense they run. This is an area where you really want to have your intermediate passes, those mid-range passes available, and that's just not something they have a lot of.
Yeah, they're used to the run game here, but they definitely need to try to get the ball out wide in a passing or maybe just a pitch outside as well.
Shout out to Karen Holiday watching from Salt Lake City, Utah. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to get another one of those out on air. Again, folks, try and get in contact with us if you'd like one. They fake the handoff to Poff here, and Wohlers is shut down. And Braden, I think we now see why Troy Mattern was so comfortable going for it.
Yeah, he's always confident in his defense and offense, but when you have a couple guys that are returning on that defensive line, you're always going to have trust in your defense.
And boy, Braden, they have flipped a switch, this Shanley defense. I mean, they were getting carved up really for that first quarter and the beginning of the second, and not anymore. They have really shut things down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the defensive coaching staff kind of got on them a little bit, and they've seemed to figure it out so far.
Well, definitely that first quarter was not up to Steve Huber's standards, that's for sure. Wohlers in shotgun on 3rd and 12, dropping back, going for Poff that time. And that one was over before it started. Well defended by Shanley.
Yep, and even if he caught that play, DeKaiser is going to be there to make the tackle for loss.
And a shout out to Sandy Hegley watching Andy Clark from Walcott. That's Aunt Sandy and Uncle Ron watching Andy Clark. So thank you guys for tuning in. And so, Braden, Wahpeton now is looking at a 4th and 12. They're going to go for it here, and that's not surprising. I mean, at Shanley's 26, you may as well. And they don't have a kicker here. It'd be a 36-yard field goal. You're not going to have a kicker for that. In high school, I mean, that's just not a field goal you hit very much.
And if you're in high school and have a kicker that can kick about 30 yards, he's gonna go to college probably.
Look at this. That's a good point, Braden. But Munazaro trying to find the edge, and it's nowhere to be found. He was looking downfield, though, on the trick play. That was it was a handoff to Munazaro there, but he was looking to throw that time, and nothing developed downfield. He tried to run with it. Matt Machenbacher shut it down. So Shanley will take over. We'll give another shout out here to Larry and Don Schiavo watching from Marshall, Minnesota. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we got a very engaged audience here tonight, Braden. I love that.
I love it. It's always good to see the audience engaging with us.
Another update from AA football. Jamestown leads Devils Lake 8-6 in the second quarter. Another important game for playoff seeding. Buckles going in motion across the formation. Poff trying to get out and catch him. Buckles finding the edge, dancing upfield. He was finally forced out, but not before picking up 4 or 5 yards that time.
And normally you see Buckles winning that speed battle against other players, but the quarterback Wohlers made a good play there.
Yeah, certainly. Wohlers, we talked about the size discrepancy in that backfield, Braden, or in that defensive backfield. They're not big guys, but they do have speed, and we saw that on that play.
Yeah, a lot of times speed can make up for your height.
So, doubles formation, Busick alone in shotgun. Fakes the handoff to Clark. Looking downfield, wide open is Haley Buckles. They're going for the legs, trying to trip him up. Finally brought down by Munazaro. But Braden, holy cow, Kate Busick had about 3 or 4 options that time.
Yeah, that was a good look there. I'm not sure if we see there, but Manuel was wide open there on the other side of the field.
And Hoffer right to Buckles left, and Collins was also fairly open on the far right side. I mean, Busick had 4 receivers to choose from. That was probably sensory overload for him, trying to decide which one to throw it to.
Yeah, he was probably just thinking, get it up in the air and let the receivers do the work.
I mean, as long as he got it far enough downfield, someone was going to grab it. So Shanley running downfield, trying to capitalize. It's that doubles look once again. Hoffer open on the little button hook, and he's trying to force his way forward for the first down, but we got a flag. Well, that play was in progress. Let's see what this is for. I think this might be coming back.
I believe it's too. But for there, Hoffer hasn't been getting the ball recently, and we saw that early on in the game. He was getting a lot of targets.
Yeah, they used Hoffer kind of to break Busick in, and they used him on those bubble screen type of plays to kind of get the passing game going, and it worked well. But like you said, they've tapered that off. They've warmed up some of the other guys as Valley City now leads Watford City 20-0. 7:07 left to go in the second quarter. Valley City, boy, Braden, have they emerged as a contender. They gave Shanley a very close game last week, just Shanley barely eking out a win there in Valley City.
Yeah, as the season gone on, Valley City started the season not looking too high on radars, but as the season is going on, Valley City is kind of getting up there.
Yeah, they're really looking good. There's a couple teams that have emerged. Shanley clearly the #1 right now, but a whole pack of teams right behind them biting at their heels. Busick looking downfield, and he got hit as he threw. And no doubt there, that hit had a big impact on that ball, Braden.
Yeah, that was at least 5 feet behind Hoffer, who was the intended target on that play.
And that's exactly what you want as a D lineman. If you can't get the sack, you do want to interfere with the pass. That was Garrett Lathrop, 6'1", 185. And I think Cade Busick felt all 6'1", 185 of him on that play. Took a big hit, stayed standing though, but that's Cade Busick.
Yeah, any hit you can get on a quarterback is huge, just to get him a little nervous back there to maybe rush that pass a little bit.
So 2nd and 17 now after the penalty, and that ball right into the ground in front of Austin Manuel was a screen play. And again, now that time, you know, you're expecting the pressure because that's the nature of the screen, but Busick is a little bit of a shorter quarterback, 5'8", 5'9 range, and he just couldn't quite get over those D linemen, it seemed.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to jump up and overcompensated for how high he was and threw it right into the ground. And
that's, you know, Busick has played a good game, but that's one thing you got to work on there when you got those big, tall D linemen. That's one thing Wahpeton has a lot of. They've got those big D linemen who can get their hands up like that and interfere with the play. So 7:28 left to go here in the second. 3rd and 17 for Shanley. Cade Busick taken off with a big hole. He was caught from behind, short of the first down. I don't know who got in there to make that play. Let's take a look at the replay. So here's Busick faking to Buckles, and boy, look at that hole. He would have had it too, but someone got off their block there, and I'm so sorry I did not catch that number.
Whoever that was just got a hand in, or otherwise he probably would have broken that for a first down, if not a touchdown.
Nonetheless, though, I think we're definitely going to see Shanley go for it here. Yeah, no surprise. Looking at about a 4th and 8. 3 receivers right, 1 left. Busick rolling out. He's got time. He fires. It's too high, though, off the face mask and off the chains before finally falling out of bounds. And that's the 2nd time Wahpeton has stopped Shanley on a 4th down here. 2nd time in a row.
Yeah, that's promising for Wahpeton. But if Hoffer would have caught that ball there, I'm not so sure he would have got that first down, as he was just a couple yards inside of that first down.
Yeah, that's true. A little high that time, though, and Busick is getting a little wild with some of these passes right now. We know he's capable of putting those on the mark. He's just got to calm things down.
Yeah, you're just curious if he's kind of feeling that pressure off that first hit.
Well, you know, it is only 12-0 right now. I mean, that's a big lead, but Wahpeton is keeping this game close, and there's some trickery. The ball went to Poff that time. Wohlers did a little spin move in the backfield. Shanley not confused, though. It takes a lot to get this defense to bite for a fake.
Yeah, and it looked like earlier in the game they had him on their toes a little bit, but Shanley has kind of sunk back and really stuck what they are known to do.
That Shanley defense, they just feels like they got 14 guys out there, Braden. The way they get numbers to the ball like that, you know, you can block as well as you want, but somehow they just manage to get guys to the ball carrier.
And I know that's something the defensive staff really wants them to do, is get all 11 to the ball.
Yeah, they pride themselves on that gang tackling as Poff is looking for any sort of hole. Andy Clark immediately into the legs, though. And boy, an offense that started off so strong has suddenly lost all of its steam.
Yeah, they just need to get a play here with more than 5 or 6 yards to maybe see if they can get that offense going again.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3rd and 10 here, so obviously you want the first down, but like you said, even if they could get 5, 6 yards, that'd at least be something, you know, some sort of tangible success to give them a little confidence. So 3rd and 10. With 5:35 to go now in the first half. Wohlers in shotgun. A lot of misdirection in the backfield, and Poff brought down immediately. Excellent tackling from Matt Machenbacher. I thought they actually had the Deacons that time. You know, I wasn't sure if it was going for a first down, but I thought they'd get something, and absolutely not.
Yeah, they definitely had me confused on that play, but Machenbacher was not confused at all and made the hard tackle.
And Matt Machenbacher, that is not a guy you want to take a direct hit from.
No, he's a big boy. I know he's putting a lot of work in the offseason, so him getting that tackle, oof, I would not want to get hit by him.
Yeah, he put on a lot of weight this summer, but it was good weight, a lot of muscle, made him a much more effective linebacker as Andy Clark took off there. Nice job, Clark, that time staying brave there with 2 guys running right towards him. And got a couple yards. So 4:52 and less than a half a field to drive down. This is a piece of cake for Shanley most of the time.
Yeah, normally they want to have a quick drive here and try to get the ball back, but I wouldn't be so sure how tonight is going if they try to use all 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see here, Braden. I think they're pretty confident in their defense now. It's interesting. Things have kind of switched on Shanley. Their defense didn't look so hot at first. Their offense was firing on all cylinders. Now things have totally flipped around. And so let's see here if this offense looks any better. They certainly haven't looked bad. They just have lost a step maybe. Maybe Cole Fredericks can bring that back, though. Fredericks looking for the edge that time. Just about busted it. Still gained 14, though.
Yeah, and for Wahpeton, if one of your sides of the ball is going to be clicking, you want it to be that defensive side, because once Shanley's offense gets going, it's really hard to come back and stop them. Yeah,
I mean, they did a good job kind of subduing them there for a couple of plays. But, yeah, Shanley suddenly starting to find that life again. And Cole Fredericks, Braden, is such a good player to give you some energy as an offense. He uses that speed out on the edge. Like you saw there, it's really injects some life. As now Busick looking downfield, he had a man. It was well defended, though, looking for Hoffer that time. And that was good coverage, though, by Munazaro. He stuck with him the whole time. Busick, I think, was maybe just going for the jump ball.
I think so, too. With that matchup out there, I think he was just going for the jump ball with Hoffer's height.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, that's about 6 inches edge that Hoffer's got there. Busick, though, off the money on the jump ball.
And Hoffer does have a good vertical there, so if you give that up, he most likely will take that grab.
That's true. We saw him try it on the 2-point conversion attempt with Hoffer in the corner, as now they're going to hand this ball off to Cole Fredericks. Fredericks trying to find the edge. Poff, though, tracked him down from behind. Poff is using that speed well to seal the edge. That's a big stop here for Wahpeton, as that's going to make it 3rd and 12 now. Time continuing to run off. 4:05 left in the first half. So the Deacons come to the line. This is definitely 4-down territory for them, as really everywhere is 4-down territory. Busick in shotgun, trips to his left. He's going to step up on the draw play. Tried to spin out of it, and that's not going to work, as he's brought down 3 or 4 yards short. And I think they're going to... Oh, they will mark him shorter than that. It looks like the knee touched pretty quick after he tried that move. So that's more like 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah, and I know you want to get the first down on 3rd down, but that was okay there. Just trying to get some of that yardage back to make a 4th and manageable.
Yeah, they make it a much more easy 4th down try now. And we know they're going for it here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. My bet is that we see a read option type of play here.
Yeah, it looks like Shanley Deacons are going to take a timeout to really figure out what play they want to call here to score.
Part of it, I guess, they're going to leave Wahpeton. In the event that they don't get it, they'll leave Wahpeton with a little less time. Obviously, 3 minutes is a ton of time for Shanley to punch this in if they pick up the 4th down conversion. But, playing it safe, you may as well run some time off just in case.
And if you give the ball back to Wahpeton, they're a pounding ground team and like to eat up that time. They're not a 2-minute drive kind of team, so I think this is the right choice for Shanley.
They don't have much of that 2-minute drill type of offense, like you said. I don't think we've seen them complete a pass yet, actually. So
I believe you're correct. I mean, if you would count the one to Hoffer, but that wasn't intercepted.
Well, yeah, I suppose, Braden. But yeah, so Shanley with the right idea there. And like I said, on this 4th down, I'm expecting a read option type of play. I know it's 5 or 6 yards to go here, but the way Shanley runs the ball, that's not really that far for them to try and get on an option.
Yeah, I agree with that play call. I think they're going to make a read option here, but if not, they'll probably put all receivers up the field like we saw last time, where they were all open.
Yeah, I mean, when they're running that 4 verts type of play, it's been working great for them. I mean, we've seen guys incredibly open just when they're running in a straight line down the field, and you don't see that too often. So the 4th down try here, Busick rolling out, plenty of time. He's got a man. Hoffer was wide open. He took a big hit, but he was able to hang on to it.
And I'm pretty sure that was the exact same play call they had on last 4th down, but this time they were able to convert it.
Well, and you'll see here, I think you're right. I think it was the same play call. The difference is they were working from the near hashes, and so there was way more room to run that play. I think what we saw last time was that same play just from the far hashes, so there was less room.
Yeah, Ben Hoffer didn't have enough time to run his route completely, and this time he did.
So Busick on the option play will keep it himself, again with that spin move, and he's brought down. And Braden, it just baffles me how such a simple, I mean, every time Cade Busick gets hit, he just spins.
Yeah, he's always going to try to get that extra yardage. He's a hardworking guy, and you see it on the field.
Yeah, that spin move, though, Braden, I mean, he just does it, and it's like 4 or 5 extra yards. I just don't get it. I mean, it's honestly incredible. I think that goes to show the power in Cade Busick's legs.
Yeah, normally you see that from a running back or a skilled player out wide, like a wide receiver, not a quarterback.
But he just flies out of that. It's fun to watch. As now they go back to the screen pass, going to Townhofer again. That's more what we saw in that opening possession. And that's good for a gain of 4 or 5.
Bowlers on the stop for the Huskies.
Austin Emanuel going to sub on now for Cole Fredericks. They're looking at a 3rd and 1. Under 2 minutes to go now. Shanley in great shape here, just 11 yards separating them from pay dirt. Three receivers out to the right, one out to the left. Cade Busick in shotgun. Busick directly up the middle on the draw, met with some resistance in the backfield. He was close. Looks like he got it, though.
I mean, and if you're Wahpeton here on any short yardage play, you got to expect a quarterback run up the middle because that's Shanley's bread and butter, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and Shanley hurrying back to the line now. Waiting for the whistle to get this thing set. So Cade Busick in shotgun, and they're going to try the same thing again. Jumping over the pile that time was Cade Busick. It's another gain of a couple yards, just inching him closer to that end zone. And, you know, Braden, you talked about Wahpeton. Obviously, I think they know what's coming with those QB runs. The thing is, even when you know what's coming against this Shanley line, against a runner like Cade Busick, you can't do much to stop it.
No, you can't do much to stop it, for sure.
And so Busick firing out to Buckles, and that one was a bit behind him, and I don't think they blew that as an incomplete. That was a live ball, I believe. I mean, Haley Buckles got on top of it, but I think they actually said that was going backwards.
Yeah, that was a smart play by Buckles to not stop since he didn't catch the ball, but to continue the play until he heard that whistle.
Yeah, a lot of guys, you know, it hits your hands, you don't grab it, you kind of keep running out of frustration. He realized, though, there was no whistle there. That was heads up. Wahpeton, too, they kept playing through it. They just couldn't get to it. So 3rd and 8 now, 38 seconds to go in the first half. And Busick on the slant run. It's tipped and picked in the end zone. A big-time interception keeps the Deacons from tacking on another touchdown. And how about that?
Wow, that was a heck of a play there for Wahpeton.
Unbelievable. It was tipped in traffic. Someone got a paw on that ball. And then from there, it was Munazaro, Johnny on the spot, grabbing onto that one. And what a defensive stand.
And that matchup has been great all night with Hoffer and Munazaro. And it looks like they're pretty even right now with Hoffer having an interception. Now he has one as well.
Yeah, I mean, Munazaro, give the guy credit. We're talking about a guy standing 5'6", 5'7". He's been matched up with all 6'3" of Talon Hoffer, and he's been more than holding his own. So Shanley showing a lot of pressure here. If I'm Wahpeton, I think I'm just trying to get to the buzzer here, hold on to this ball, don't give up any more points as they run that one out to the right. And boy, Braden, I think the man who got the hand on it was Jonah Enochson. I think he got his hand out there and tipped it because the ball from Busick was a little bit behind, intended for Buckles. And it was Enochson there from the linebacker position who got his hand out there, tipped it, and then, like, I mean, you saw what happened next.
I believe that was a good thing he got that ball tipped because it looked like it was probably going to be a touchdown to Hoffer there.
Yeah, it could have been. Or, yeah, excuse me, that was to Hoffer, not Buckles. I think it all started, though, that ball was a little behind was the problem. That's the reason there was a hand on it. And from there, that was when Munazaro was able to grab onto it. And so, update from AA play. All these games are at halftime. So at half, Jamestown leads Devils Lake 15-6. St. Mary's leads Central Cass 7-0. And Valley City leads Watford 20-0. So again, a lot of big matchups going on right now. I'll keep you updated there. And so 21 seconds left. It is 12-0 in favor of the Deacons. Looked like we were going to see it, 18, 19, or 20-0, depending on the extra point. We know that's not been a guarantee tonight. But looked like we were going to see another touchdown for Shanley, and then the interception turned things around. So Woller's going to keep for Wahpeton. He's got some space up the middle, and he's brought down about 3 or 4 yards short. And right now, it's all about ball security for Wahpeton. You just don't want to turn this thing over. And the clock looks like it's winding down right now. I don't think we're going to see another timeout. And that will be the final play of this first half. So Braden, after one half of play, it's only 12-0 right now in favor of Shanley.
Yeah, that is a little surprising. Shanley's normally known for putting a lot of points up, but we saw last week they didn't put a ton of points up against Valley City. That's
true. The offense maybe not quite operating at what they would like it to be right now. Either way, right now, Wahpeton. Sorry, I have all those teams. I've been reading all those scores off, Braden, and I wanted to say about 4 different teams. Wahpeton right now is doing what they got to do. They're keeping that offense in check. They're taking advantage of an offense that's maybe not operating at full capacity like we said, and we got a 12-0 game, folks. So we'll take a break here for halftime, but then come right back in just a few minutes for what should be a fun end to this game. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action here on Shanley TV. We're just about set for the second half of play here between the Shanley Deacons and the Wahpeton Huskies. But before we get to the action, we would like to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathleticClub.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. And so, folks, we're getting ready for the second half here. Shanley leads Wahpeton 12-0. We thought they were going to attack another touchdown there right at the end of the half, but then a tipped ball, an interception, and suddenly it's just a 12-0 game here with the Deacons getting ready to go back on offense. So, Braden, what are your expectations here for our second half of play?
I think it's going to be a great end to this game. Well, Wahpeton's really has a lot of fire to come out and win this game, knowing that they're still in this ball game. They really want to take off that #1 seed.
Certainly. No, Wahpeton with just one win on the season, that one win being over Grafton. We talked about them just wanting to play spoiler here. It's senior night. It's Shanley's last home game of the year. You're coming onto their turf. You want to get that win just as a pride thing, even if it doesn't matter for your own team standings, a win's still a win.
Yeah, you want to win every ball game, but when you're trying to play spoiler on a senior night, you really want to win that game.
Yeah, it gives you extra motivation, no doubt. I think even if Wahpeton were playing like a team that's more like a 5 or a 6 seed, I think you certainly have a better shot of beating the 1 seed, weird as that sounds, just because I think the motivation is more there when you're out of that playoff picture. There's just something about taking down kind of that Goliath, the #1, the undefeated. And so, folks, we're about ready to kick things off. Before we get to it, Valley City is leading Watford City 44-0 at half. So, folks, Valley City, a second half rally would be an understatement. They have really come on strong the second half of the season. So, the man who does a little bit of everything, Munanzaro, kicking this one off now. That's going down the left side. Andy Clark going to field it. It looked like he might have taken a hop out of bounds, but he saw it wasn't going that way, and so he's taking it himself. And now look at this. Coming up the near side, Andy Clark still going and down at the 40-yard line. Andy Clark with a fantastic special teams play. Get a look at that replay. He's got nice blocking, a head of steam, and he was running hard that time, too.
Exactly, and he almost lost that ball there just a little bit earlier. That was great hand strength to hold on to that ball.
And, folks, real quick, over halftime, a couple more people who got in contact with us. Want to give a shout-out to Mrs. Backlund and her son Christian tuning in. That's Shanley teacher, Mrs. Backlund. Thank you for tuning in. We'll get to this play, and then we'll get back to that. So, doubles formation. Cade Busick, tons of time, but here comes the pressure. He's still on his feet. Tons of green space. Oh, but he slips. Cade Busick goes down under his own power. He fought through the pressure, but just couldn't keep his footing.
That was great athletic ability there to get away from the tackle. And if he would have been able to make that throw, he had a receiver open downfield. And, getting back to shout-outs, though, a couple more people. Noah Johnson's grandparents are tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Noah Johnson, star Shanley football player, and my own grandmother, Rosemary Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in, Grandma. And so we got a QB draw here. Cade Busick just charging forward that time, and boy, is he effective on those plays, Braden. Yeah, it's really tough to stop him on those inside runs, and even those outside runs, he's hard to bring down.
And yeah, man, just a head of steam. And those are big guys for Wahpeton up front. I mean, we're talking pretty much everyone on that D-line is well north of 200 pounds, and he just doesn't care.
Yeah, normally a normal guy doesn't want to get tackled, but he's not scared at all of them.
Not scared of contact. 2 receivers left, 2 right. Cade Busick going up the gut once again, hit his own man, but bounced off of that, and he's forward for a first down. Easy third down pickup.
That was a great example. If you can do the same play for a couple of yards every time, you'll get that first down. They did that there.
Yeah, Shanley not afraid to run the same play. They've got a really big arsenal, really big playbook, but when they find a play that works, they're not afraid to keep doing it because they're that confident in their execution. They don't care if you think you've figured it out. Busick shotgun out in the flat to Buckles. That play was jumped nicely, but the tackle could not be made as Buckles goes out for a gain of 7 or 8. That time it was Thomas Wituski who got there, but he just couldn't wrap up.
Yeah, and that was a great cutback by Haley Buckles to get at least 7 yards. I was expecting to get a tackle for loss, but he was able to get out of it and get those positive yards.
Yeah, and that's what Buckles brings to the table. The speed and the agility, they're both on display right there. rolling with the same formation. Cade Busick looking to his right. He's got Clark open. Clark trying to get around. They do get the tackle this time. And he's just short of that first down marker.
That was a good thing Wolmer's got the tackle there, because if he wasn't going to get the tackle, he had a lot of green space in front of him.
Yeah, Woller's great job getting around the knees there and wrapping up. And now I would say they're faced with a decision, or excuse me, so now it's going to be third down. I think I said that was third down. So 3rd and 3. They're in 4-down territory, as they pretty much always are. But so here's Busick now, alone in the backfield. QB draw. He ran right into a big D lineman. Oh my gosh. He ran directly into the arms of Tucker Hermes, all 6'3", 289 of him, Braden.
Yeah, he's definitely going to feel that one tomorrow morning.
I mean, boy, Tucker Hermes, that is a big dude in the middle of that D-line, and he grabbed Cade Busick and brought him down. 4th and 1. I'm assuming we're going to see Busick up the gut one more time. We know he can gut out that 1 yard. We do have motion, though. They fake to Buckles. Busick going forward. Easy first down for Cade Busick. Big push that time.
And I'm pretty sure everyone in the stadium saw that one coming.
Yeah, and we talked about it at the end of that first half. It doesn't matter if you're Wahpeton. It doesn't matter if you know that play is coming, because there's just so little you can do. They have the big D linemen. They've got a good defense, but Shanley just executes so well, so crisp.
And exactly, with Shanley's offensive line, they're very strong up front, and with Cade Busick, he doesn't want to go down until he hears that whistle.
So, fresh set of downs here for Shanley at the Wahpeton 15. Busick looking downfield, wide open. Austin Manuel, little too high. And boy, those Deacon receivers, they have been getting open. The timing, though, between quarterback and receiver has been a little off tonight.
Which is very surprising. I think that's something they're going to need to work on going into next week's game.
Yeah, last year when Busick had to step in for Kuhneman, I feel like the transition was actually a little better last year, and part of that, though, Braden, I think, was the schedule. I think Busick came in at a better part of the schedule last year, but still, it's interesting. They seem like they're maybe having a few more chemistry issues, as there's a huge stop. Andy Clark is brought down in the backfield, and that's tough to put on Andy Clark. I mean, he never really got a chance.
Yeah, Wahpeton read that play really well and got the tackle for last year. See who that was?
Yeah, that was a jet sweep that time, and Hermes, again, the big man just comes in, and that's good agility, too, from the big man.
And going back to what you said earlier, it's always hard to transition to a new quarterback wherever you're at in the season, but especially in the middle of the season, it's really hard to get that timing down.
So, 3rd and 14. Clark goes in motion again. Busick looking downfield. Manuel wide open this time. They get it. Austin Manuel couldn't have been more open if he tried, and it's an easy touchdown for Shanley.
It was good to see Busick made that adjustment there and got the touchdown.
And he had a couple options. I mean, pretty much everyone was open. And it's interesting, Braden. Seems like every time Shanley, they run those vertical routes, they just send the guys downfield. Seems like everybody's getting open on those.
Yeah, I think Wahpeton is kind of more forming to a short game plan, and they'll let the Deacons beat them deep, but not short.
Shanley going to look to exploit that, you would think, as the game goes on. So trying to PAT for the first time tonight, and it does go through. So Shanley maybe thinking they should have done that from the start, as now they're only up 19-0, but only 19-0. That's a great margin to be up by at this stage in the game. And recapping that, it was a fake PAT to start, an interesting decision we talked about. We, likely just kind of testing out your playbook before the playoffs, seeing what you can do if you need that come playoff time. That didn't work. Then they tried the corner route to Hoffer in the corner of the end zone. That didn't go, and then they are able to get the PAT through. So that's Machenbacher's first attempt. So he's 1 for 1 on the night.
And I think they saw what they were looking for on those first 2-point conversions, and now they're just satisfied with getting that PAT, that 1 point.
Yeah, and Machenbacher, he's a kicker you can trust. Pretty rare for him not to put one through, and that's good to have come playoff time.
All right, Deacons fans, everybody get to kickoff.
So Machenbacher to kickoff once again. Huskies gonna have to make some noise here on offense. Under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter as Matt Machenbacher kicks this one away. Going to be fielded at about the 15 by Munazaro. Munazaro still going and then brought down past the 30, so a nice return, and that's where Wahpeton will go to work. And Braden, the Wahpeton offense started off very strong in the beginning of this game. They kind of faded at the beginning of the second quarter, but then towards the end of that first half, we saw them improve a little bit. So we'll see what they bring to the table here. We've seen many faces of this offense. In shotgun now, the handoff to Munazaro. Munazaro had space. He ran into his own man, though. Deacons did a good job closing up there, pushing men around and sealing the hole up. And, folks, another shout-out here. Want to give a shout-out to, excuse me, a Shanley alum and a Shanley football alumni, Peter Simon. So, Peter, thank you for watching. Older brother of Andy Simon, a current member of the Shanley football team. So 7:25 left. Plenty of time here for Wahpeton. Just the third quarter. But like I said, you really do have to do something here on this drive, even if you don't get points. Let's see something good here if you're Wahpeton. Wohlers hops over the pile, still on his feet. They're trying to drag him down, but they can't. Wohlers finding the edge, cutting back, still going, and down at the 47. And you will not see a grittier run than that, Braden.
No, both these quarterbacks have made a couple of great athletic plays here, and that's kind of surprising saying that they're quarterbacks.
Well, and here's the funny thing, Braden. We're talking about Cade Busick, who's about 5'8", and Isaac Wohlers, who's about 5'7", and they run with absolute reckless abandon out there.
Yeah, they don't care who's in front of them. They're going to go at him no matter what.
Busick, kind of a power-running quarterback, and Wohlers, you saw the moves there. He hurdled over the pile. He had spin moves. He had side steps. He had everything in his arsenal, using them well. So fresh set of downs. Wohlers hands off now to Poff that time, and Poff is good for a gain of 6 or 7. Actually make that more like 5 or 6 for Poff, but that's more of what we saw in the first quarter, and that's a good sign for Wahpeton. So Wahpeton taking their time here, and that's what you want to see from the Huskies. They're a time of possession team. They like to dominate that time of possession and hold on to the ball for a while. So Wohlers in shotgun. It's that familiar formation for the Huskies. He's going to carry up the middle on the QB run, and he's not going anywhere. That's looks like no gain that time for Isaac Wohlers. Joe Cava making the tackle that time. Now we're looking at 3rd and 5 or 6 here for Wahpeton. And this is a big play here for the Huskies, trying to keep a very nice drive alive. Wohlers in shotgun, misdirection in the backfield. They go to Poff. Poff has a hole. Poff up the near sideline, fighting forward, finally brought down by Hoffer at about the 32-yard line. And a huge 3rd down conversion. And Braden, what a big-time play there for the Huskies. We have not seen them do that as of yet. We saw some promising drives, but we have not seen them step up like that as of yet.
Excuse me, that's their second biggest play this drive, so maybe we're seeing a little bit of life out of their offense here.
Certainly seems like it now as Wohlers hands off to Poff. Poff up the other side, but the ball came out. It's still loose out there, and the Deacons have it. Oh, just when things were turning around for Wahpeton, their first fumble of the game. And, man, that hurts if you're the Huskies. Such a promising drive, and that ball just popped out.
That hurts a lot, Jed. I mean, once you're having a promising drive like that and turn the ball over, that definitely deflates some of the air out of your offense.
A pick earlier on a 4th down attempt wasn't so bad. It was a long shot, but this fumble here, this second turnover, that hurts. It really seemed like Wahpeton was going to get points out of that. And so the Shanley offense coming out now, and this is going to be crucial for Wahpeton. Hard as it may be, you got to try to find some energy after really a play that's going to take some life out of you. But here comes pressure on Busick, trying to step up, and he goes down immediately. What a response here on defense.
That's the exact response you want after turning the ball over. To get any sort of negative yards for Shanley, that's huge for Wahpeton.
We've seen Wahpeton make plays like that before, though, and Shanley has done an excellent job digging themselves out of these holes. Wahpeton's going to have to keep the pressure on here. If they could force a 3-and-out, a turnover, something to get this ball back quick, be great. Great for them, their energy mostly, you know, because when you have those negative plays like that fumble, suddenly you start getting a lot more tired. Things kind of start to hurt more. So 2 receivers left, 1 right. It's an option play. Busick will take it himself and get maybe 2 or 3 that time.
And like you previously said there, it's all about for Wahpeton right now, getting that energy back, trying to get a little bit of life so you can get some points on that board, because if you don't score, you're obviously not going to win the ball game.
Right. You know, the defense, it's been a little back and forth. You know, it's been good at times, not so much at others, but right now it's looking strong, and that offense, like you said, that's really been looking good, so you got to try and get that ball back as soon as possible. Busick, wide open is Talon Hoffer, easy first down conversion. And Hoffer doesn't have to do much that time. They're playing really soft coverage on him there. There's a couple Huskies in the area, but no one's really closing in on him.
And that surprised me they didn't make in-game adjustments there at halftime, because they realized Hoffer was getting a couple catches. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have someone closer on him there.
Well, you know, I will say the one thing we've seen, Josh Darwin, for the most part, is shutting Haley Buckles down in this game, as Cole Fredericks, great carry for Fredericks. Real tough run for 11 or 12. But Braden, as I was saying, you know, we saw Haley Buckles with a big catch. You know, he had a big gain earlier. I'm not sure if Darwin was shadowing him that play. Darwin's been across from him, though, most of the time, and he's been winning that matchup, Braden.
And I think Shanley realized that it's going to be a tough battle for Buckles outside, so why not try to get another receiver that's going to win that battle with some touches?
So Busick dropping back to pass, looking somewhere. I think that was a screen, Braden?
Yeah, it looked like he was looking for Fredericks, but he didn't have him at all. It looked like they weren't on the same page of where that ball was going to go.
And as good as this Shanley offense is, that is one area where they've struggled tonight and a little bit this season. Those running back screens, you know, when Busick is trying to get up over the hands of those big, tall D linemen, he's having trouble there.
Yeah, this has been the biggest line he's faced all year, so that might be affecting him, because normally he's able to see over those linemen.
2 receivers right, 1 left. Busick in shotgun. He keeps looking at that sideline. There's a little confusion right now. Busick going to fake to Fredericks. He takes a hit, though, and the ball is incomplete. And that was a nice job that time. Coming right up the middle was Enochson on the blitz, the linebacker. 3:14 left in this third quarter, 3rd and 10. Shanley's doing a nice job on this drive. Wahpeton is making them fight for every yard, though. Doubles formation. Manuel in at tight end. Busick alone in the backfield. Busick drops back, pressure coming. Great job avoiding it. Wide open space in front of him. Makes a move, still on his feet. Moving along the far sideline. And that's what Cade Busick does. Pressure came, he escaped, and he got the first down.
Yeah, and he read the defense really well there. It looked like he was maybe going to get the ball off, but he chose to keep it, and that was a smart play by him.
And the Huskies there, just too tight on those angles. They're coming in way too, you know, they're committing way too much to one side, and Busick is making them pay for it. You saw it on that play. 2 or 3 guys looked like they had a shot, and then Busick just made them look silly.
Yeah, they need to approach their defender and break down. They're not breaking down, so it's easy for Shanley to get past them.
Absolutely, Braden. Overcommitting right now, and it's costing them. Busick charging forward, breaking tackle after tackle, and down at the 10-yard line.
And Jed, I thought he was going to break that one for a touchdown.
Yeah, he looked like there was no chance he was going down. Just at the end, though, he lost his footing. So ball at the 10. Shanley with a 19-0 lead. A touchdown here would be absolutely huge, especially considering this whole drive is developed off of that Wahpeton fumble. Busick in shotgun. Looks immediately to his right. Kochman open on the screen. Kochman driving forward and into the end zone for the touchdown. Carter Kochman checks in at the receiver position, and he scores the touchdown on the screen. And really, Braden, it's just a bubble screen. It's what we've seen him run all game long. They check Kochman in there. They know he's a good runner, and it works out well for him.
Yeah, and you think the Deacons would be satisfied with the touchdown, but they're thrilled right now to see that Kochman got a touchdown, because he's another player that could really help Shanley out in the playoff run.
Yeah, definitely, especially looking next year, you know, when Buckles, Fredericks, Manuel, Busick, well, heck, even Kuhneman, when he was playing quarterback, was a big runner. As this extra point is blocked, and the one thing Shanley's not doing well right now is these PAT attempts for some reason.
And normally they're pretty solid, so I'm a little surprised. So I'm guessing next week they'll figure it all out, and they'll get back to what they're used to.
Yeah, not Machenbacher's fault there. Clear breakdown in the blocking up front, so interesting development there, but still up 25-0. Anyway, what I was saying was for next year, Carter Kochman, he's going to have to step up like we talked about. Most of the skill position guys for Shanley are seniors, at least most of the running backs, and Haley Buckles the #1 receiver. So, like you said, good to see Kochman getting in there, getting the touchdown in minutes that matter right now.
Yeah, and he's probably going to be that feature back next year, so he's going to get a lot of touches, whether it's in the backfield or out wide. So he's really going to have to step up and be ready when his name is called.
Yeah, you would think. We've seen him play receiver, we've seen him play running back, maybe in that Buckles type of role. There's, you know, he's another guy who's kind of alternated like that. Carson Dean, another name we'll see, maybe even Jaden Ort next year already. So Machenbacher lined up to kick it off. He's done well keeping these in bounds since his first kick went out of bounds to start. And here's the boot from Machenbacher. Munazaro lets it bounce. He might be regretting that, though, as he fell on it at the 2. And, boy, you can't be doing that.
No, he's had a struggle back there tonight. I'm not so sure if he should have just let this go in the end zone and called the touchback, because
you know, Braden, I think I saw what he was seeing. To me, it looked like, you know, so I thought he made the right call initially, and then all of a sudden, at least up here, it looked like that ball lost all its steam and was going to be, you know, down at about the 1 or 2. So I think he had the right idea trying to pick it up. But you got to remember, you can't let your knee touch the ground there in high school, because if your knee touches the ground, it does not matter if you get touched. That play is dead. So, Wahpeton needing 97 yards to get a touchdown here. It all starts with one play, though. Let's see what they've got. Handoff goes to Munazaro, looking for a little redemption. Out for a gain of 3 or 4 that time. We got another update for you here in AA action across the state. Jamestown is beating Devils Lake 21-6 at the moment. And with 2:25 left in the third, St. Mary's clings to a 7-0 lead over Central Cass.
And Jed, going back to that previous play, that's exactly what you want to do there. You want to get a couple yards once you're close to your own end zone so you can open up the playbook a little more, try to get that first down.
So, looking at 2nd and 5 now, more misdirection in the backfield, and Poff looks to be maybe 2 yards, a yard short of the first down. And so this is a big 3rd down try coming now, because obviously if you're Wahpeton, you cannot go for it on 4th here, so you got to try and pick this thing up and put a drive together.
And you got to think they're going to do a run up the middle, maybe go back to one of those plays that was working really well in the first half.
Just a minute 35 now left in this 3rd quarter. Wahpeton looking at a big 3rd and 1. The snap. The handoff to Poff with plenty of space up the right side, and he falls forward for the first down. Great run there for Poff. Great first down for Wahpeton. And that's good blocking there. I mean, it's really just the hole there that Poff follows. No one really touched him until he got to that first down marker.
Yeah, that was excellent blocking, because Deacons weren't fooled by the fake, and it was the blocking that really got that first down for them.
It's been pretty good. The one knock against this O-line, you know, the fullbacks and the tight ends, everybody really involved in the blocking, has been a little inconsistency. Other than that, they've looked pretty good. As now we've got more misdirection, and a nice run to the near side here as Talon Hoffer is trying to throw a man down who just won't go down, and on the carry that time, it was Thomas Wituski. And Wituski, boy, hard run there for not a huge guy, but he does a great job keeping the legs moving.
And one thing that's looked good for Wahpeton all game long has been their outside blocking with those receivers, which includes Darwin, that 6'6" frame. That's good blocking by him.
Yeah, Darwin, he's made a really big impact, Braden, in a lot of ways where you don't call his name. It's tough for him to kind of make himself known because they just don't pass very much, but his defense and his blocking has been stellar. From shotgun now, it's a QB run up the middle. Look at this, another big-time run. And still, Wohlers continues to damage the Deacons on those quarterback runs.
Yeah, and just when you think the Deacons have it all figured out, the Wahpetons come back and gets 2 huge plays there.
Now, Wahpeton really, Braden, they just got to hang on to the ball here. If they can keep doing that, they look like they've kind of picked up where they left off from that last drive. They just got to hang on to the football.
And that's what hurt them last drive. They fumbled that ball, so if they would have held on, they probably were looking at points there.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked more likely than not. You know, that fumble, though, that was the difference, as they are going to let the clock wind down here, and it'll take us to the 4th quarter. But the difference on that last play, Braden, that fumble, it was the difference between 25-0 and 19-6 or 7. You know, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, to get any points against Shanley, not just to close the margin, but to get any points, kind of lowers the confidence of Shanley because they always want that shutout. So whenever you get points, that would be huge.
Right, and you know, honestly though, I think I've been more impressed by this Wahpeton defense because again, Shanley, they're an offensive team. That's their identity. Clearly a lockdown defense. I mean, but the defense, you know, that's nothing unusual for them. It was the same under Rod Oxendahl lockdown defense. The offense is just kind of their defining characteristic because it's so different. It incorporates so many different things. It was such a shake-up for them to start running that last year. To hold them to only 25, and I know only 25 sounds kind of silly, but to hold them to only 25, that's a win so far for Wahpeton, in my opinion.
I would have to agree. That's very impressive for them because Shanley's known for putting up a lot of points here in their ball games. And when we get a break here, Jed, we would like to thank you for everything you've done for Shanley TV. As known, this is your last football game being called for Shanley TV, so you got to be pretty bummed out about that.
Well, Braden, bummed out's a good way to put it, my man. Thank you. Yeah, my last Shanley TV football game here, and our last Shanley TV football game of the season, but it's been a good one here. 25-0 Wahpeton giving us a good one here against these Shanley Deacons. So, Wohlers in shotgun now with a new set of downs at his own 39. He's going to hand off to Poff, and Poff goes absolutely nowhere. Cole Fredericks gets a big-time tackle for loss. And Fredericks, the senior there, Braden, boy, did he get into that backfield quick.
Yeah, he got there really fast. I was expecting someone else to get in there, but when you see Fredericks back there, you know he's playing good football because he has that athletic ability to get in that backfield very fast. Excuse me there, Chad.
Yeah, Braden, of course. He's got great acceleration there, like you talked about, and he's very good at diagnosing the plays, as you saw. Wohlers fakes the handoff, keeps it himself. A wall of Deacons headed towards him. Austin Manuel throws him down. Huge hit for Manuel. Just grabs him up around the neck, not by the neck, but right around there on the shoulder pads, and just brings him down hard. $11 minutes even left on this clock. Down 25-0. Not looking super likely here for Wahpeton, Braden, but still been a very respectable performance here, and points on this drive would really make this night even better for the Huskies. So 3rd and 16, going to be tough, but not impossible. Wohlers drops back, pressure coming, heaving it towards Darwin. He went up there for the jump ball, and Buckles knocked it away. And, ooh, Josh Darwin is down and not looking too hot. And that's a tough sight. Boy, you really hope Darwin's okay.
Yeah, from what I saw, it didn't look like there was anything too obvious that he got hurt from, but who knows? It could have been maybe he landed wrong or...
Yeah, you know, I don't know, Braden. You know, on plays like that, when they don't absorb a ton of contact, that does make you a little worried. If it's, you know, you never want to go down under your own power because that usually, you know, means something might have given out. But this could also be, you know, the way he's standing up now, which is a great sign. He is standing now. Hopefully it's something like a cramp. It doesn't exactly look like that, but at least he is standing and walking now. So that's good to see. Josh Darwin, of course, I think known most of all for his track and field ability. You know, unbelievably athletic guy. Like, we're talking a top athlete in the state overall. And so unfortunate to see him limping off here. But I think that's been part of the reason he's been so successful, especially covering a guy like Haley Buckles, who's got that kind of athleticism. little bit of a delay here for the Deacons. Getting the right personnel out there. So the Huskies lined up to punt now. Bronson lets this one go. It is a high punt, not going too far though, and it takes a Deacon bounce. And the Huskies let it bounce, and they'll down it around the 47-yard line. So Shanley will get the ball now at their own 47. Cade Busick runs on to lead this offense once again. So here we are, trips left, flanker right, Cade Busick in shotgun. Had Manuel there on the option play. Took it himself, though. Did make a couple men miss. He was able to avoid the loss, but that's about it down at the line of scrimmage. Ten minutes and counting left to go now as the Deacons look at a 2nd and 10 situation. Again, 3 receivers out left and 1 out right. And it's the same play. This time, though, Busick will option out to Manuel, who stays on his feet. And Austin Manuel out for 11 or 12.
And Jen, I know that's only one first down, but if you're Wahpeton, you got to switch something up here because if Shanley scores on this drive, it looks like it's going to be too tough for Wahpeton to come back.
Right. Pretty tough right now, obviously down 25-0, but yeah, Braden, also just, you know, being able to limit Shanley, if you could keep him capped at 25 here, this is a very respectable margin right now that they're down by. So Busick drops back, some pressure on the outside, well blocked, and he finds Buckles over the middle, and Haley Buckles to the outside for the touchdown. And boy, Braden, if that doesn't show the effect Josh Darwin had on this game, I don't know what does. The second he gets out, Haley Buckles makes Wahpeton pay, getting open and getting the touchdown.
And that was a great catch and run by Buckles there, but that was even better blocked by DeKaiser to allow Buckles to get outside and score that ball.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Braden, DeKaiser just throwing the T-back down that time. And yeah, like you said, great catch and run for Haley Buckles. Another late substitution here on special teams as Matt Machenbacher lines up to kick. Extra points have not been the Deacons' friend here tonight. Here's the snap. Machenbacher puts it up, and it's through the uprights and good. That's a good sign for Shanley. Needed to get that sorted out. As I was saying, though, Braden, boy, I think that play really shows how well Josh Darwin played tonight.
Yeah, he was shutting down Buckles. We didn't really talk about him much until that play, so that was a huge loss for Wahpeton.
Well, and I got to be honest, Braden, you know, as the game was going on, I kind of started to realize, hey, why aren't we calling, you know, Haley's name much? Because Buckles is a guy whose name you're going to call quite a bit most games. And then it occurred to me, well, man, Josh Darwin has been across from him this whole game. And, yeah, I mean, that just had a huge impact. Darwin's just such a special kind of athlete, you know, even, you know, he's obviously got good football knowledge, but he's the kind of guy where, you know, he can just kind of let his athleticism carry him, you know. You don't even have to be that knowledgeable in the game to just kind of go out there and use that speed, use that agility.
Yeah, and there's been 2 great matchups, and we haven't been really zoning in, but that's another matchup that really affected the outcome of this ball game.
So the Huskies get their return team out there as Matt Machenbacher is lined up for another kickoff here tonight. Whistle blows. Machenbacher lets this one go. Bouncing end over end, and oh, it is going to be fielded by Munanzara. And he's down at the 10, and he just cannot catch a break back there returning that football.
No, that was an unlucky bounce there to stay out of the end zone, excuse me, there, and it was just a tough play.
Well, and again, I can see what he was thinking. It looked like it might be short again. That time, I do think it was headed for the end zone, but, you know, honestly, Braden, I think at that point you kind of got to commit. You know, if you're going to let it go, you kind of just got to let it go, because what you don't want to risk doing is bending over to pick it up. You put yourself at such a bad position, and then you can, you know, get hit, lose the ball. I think at that point you just got to let it go. Huskies come back out. Wohlers here to lead this offense once again. They don't have any points, but they've got a pretty good amount of yards. They've just been a little unlucky, somewhat snake-bitten trying to get this ball in the end zone. Clock continues to run with 8:17 remaining.
And Jed, it looks like they're starting to, Shanley, excuse me, is starting to sub in some of their defensive players, those second stringers, to get them some valuable reps.
Yeah, not a bad idea here, Braden, especially considering how physical this game has been. I've seen a couple Shanley players get up gingerly, nothing that's made them leave the game, but just looking a little beat up out there, and that's to be expected when you're playing such a physical squad like Wahpeton, as that run was just about busted that time by Poff. He was met initially, it looked like he might find an edge, but wrapped up nicely. And it's interesting, Braden, this Wahpeton team gave Shanley one of their closest, if not their closest game of the regular season last year. Excuse me, and Wahpeton was a fringe playoff team last year. It was 14-7 Shanley escaped with a win, and it was with the same recipe we've seen tonight. Power run and just brutal physicality.
Yeah, and this game could have been the same way as last year. It was just a couple plays that didn't go Wahpeton's way tonight.
Yeah, a couple personnel things. I think the big difference was having Aaron Dykey last year, an all-state running back, nominee for Player of the Year. He was obviously a big loss. As Munanzaro, they try the fake that time. Munanzaro trying the pass. We saw him try it once earlier. It doesn't work, but I like to see him try it, Braden. I like that at this stage in the game. Why not just go for it?
Yeah, Wahpeton's just trying to find a couple plays that might work to see if they can get some points, or at least a good drive to end the game.
Want to give a shout out to Caden Kuhneman's Aunt Linda watching the game from Devil's Lake. Thank you so much for tuning in, Linda. Appreciate it. As now we've got 6:32 and counting left in this game. Short punt fielded by Clark, and fair caught at the 35. Shanley offense going to head back out. Let's see if we see Cade Busick out there.
I thought I saw Cooper Madden running on the field, so I'm pretty sure they were satisfied with the score here.
I would imagine, yeah, and here comes Mattern. He was warming up on the sideline. So the sophomore QB will come out here for the final 6.5 minutes.
And like we said earlier this season, this is huge to get him some minutes, as he'll probably most likely be the starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, certainly you would imagine, as he is the third stringer, well now second stringer with Kuhneman hurt this season. And again, Braden, to me, I think at this point, really smart decision, not just for next year, but with playoffs getting closer and you're facing such a powerful team up front, guys that hit pretty hard, it's just good to get your starters out of there. You don't need them any more banged up. They gave you a lot tonight. They gave that physicality right back, but now it's time to rest them.
Yep, and any rest you can give starters is huge because they normally don't get that rest in games because a lot of them are really close.
Right, Shanley's been fortunate. They've been able to establish a lot of games this year, establish a lot of margins where they were not too worried, and were able to put their oftentimes only needing their starters to play 2.5, 3 quarters, and that's nice. That's nice when you have that high-powered offense and you're able to build up a cushion like that.
And not all teams are like that. Shanley's one of the better teams in 2A, so they're able to do that. But for other teams, they have those guys that are kind of getting banged up and not playing to the best of their abilities towards the end of the year. Yeah,
that's true, Braden. They do also have, they have that luxury, as we got a flag flying here and a carry for Carson Dean. Well run by Dean that time. He looked like he was going to be caught in the backfield, but turned it upfield. Still got that flag of some activity after the whistle. So we got a lot of whistles blowing, a lot of confusion out there. So let's see the call here before we do anything. Maybe we won't see the call. All right, there it is. So Shanley bringing that ball back.
And that's too bad for Shanley, as that was a really good run for Dean outside.
Yeah. Well done by Dean. Again, looked like he was going to be caught, but kept it going. And like we were saying, Braden, another big thing for Shanley, not only being able to rest those starters, but having, you look at the sideline here, and it's not quite clear from this angle, obviously, but Shanley's got a pretty nice number of kids on that sideline. Wahpeton, actually one of the better teams in AA, I'd say, depth-wise. They look pretty good, too. But Shanley, they got that depth advantage over almost everyone. Jamestown and St. Mary's off the top of my head are maybe the two others that are right around Shanley's numbers. But the Deacons able to have that nice depth advantage, and with the way they've gotten banged up this season, we've really seen that come into play. Mattern taking it up the gut, met with some resistance and not going far. Good penetration that time by the Huskies. And, you know, Braden, just between those injuries to Kuhneman, Pollard, Buckles was hurt for a period of time. Gosh, obviously I'm forgetting some. Bowden, so many guys dealing with week-to-week type injuries. I think we've just seen that luxury of Shanley being able, you know, having that numbers, you know, advantage, that depth, being able to put guys in and not worry too much about getting too thin on those sidelines. It's really valuable as the season wears on. Yeah,
and it hurts to lose starters, but Shanley's philosophy is next man up. So whoever's next, they need to step up and do just as good as that starter was doing.
Certainly, they have done that this season. Final score in that Valley City Watford City game, 50-0. And, you know, Watford City, obviously, rebuilding year for them. They've not been having a great year. So it's not exactly like a super impressive win for Valley City. But even to be able to put up 50 points, you know, I don't care who you're playing, to be able to put up 50 is still a good sign. Valley City is looking like a contender, Braden.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to begin the season. But as the season goes on, they look like a legitimate playoff team. I mean,
Shanley beat them barely. It took that game all the way down to the end of the fourth quarter. As now we got a 4th and 8 here. Screen pass. Mattern almost had that ball picked. Dean, though, might get the first down out of this thing. He might get a touchdown. Breaking it out to the right side. Back up the middle. And Dean brought down just short. A play that looked broken from the get-go somehow turned around. And I think they've got Carson Dean to thank for that.
Yeah, and let alone getting almost to the second. I'm surprised he even caught that ball. It looked like the Wahpeton player was going to take that right out of the air.
That was a tough play. Cooper Mattern immediately runs over to the sideline, pats his chest, and he says, "That's on me." And to a degree, maybe, but that was tough. I mean, he had D lineman right in his face, and you can only do so much. That was really well sniffed out by Wahpeton's defense.
And we've seen that all game long. They've done a really good job at defending those screen plays right in the middle of the field.
Yeah, the running back screens, you know, the bubble screens for the receivers have been fine, but those running back screens, not so much. Something they might want to work on just because it seems like such a big part of their arsenal, as I think Mattern will have the touchdown here. And folks, we'll give a shout out now to Mike Rooney from the Shanley class of 1956, watching from Missoula, Montana. Thank you for tuning in, Mike, a Shanley alumni. So with that score, it's 38-0. Looks like they will try and kick here. Although we have been fooled before. They went for the fake PAT on that first play. You know, we talked about how we thought that was a rehearsal for the playoffs, but kind of weird, Braden, that you would show your cards as they'll try the fake again. Just as I'm saying it, Clark heaves one up there, and it doesn't work. And that's puzzling to me, Braden, that you would kind of show your hand, that, you know, you'd show your bag of tricks here in a game where you really don't need to.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to do it earlier in the season, so maybe that team they're playing in the playoffs maybe forgets about it.
Maybe.
But I'm not too sure.
But, I mean, we're talking about their last home game here, and they're trying things. And, you know, I'm not a coach. I mean, you know, it's the debate between, do you want to keep it a secret or do you want to get those live reps to practice it? And now how much of a secret a fake PAT is, I mean, you know, everybody knows it's in the playbook, so there's only so much you can do to, you know, hide it.
And that's the key. You can't really do much out of a fake. There's only a couple plays you can run, so you don't really need to plan too much for a fake.
Right. So, I mean, you know, maybe there's a tell a team can pick up on film, you know, to see when you're doing the fake and when you're kicking, but, you know, I mean, there's both sides to the argument. It was a little more puzzling to me on their first touchdown to try it. I get more doing it here now when it doesn't mean as much.
And on this one, I'm not so sure if that was due to the snap or maybe they just wanted to try a different one. It just looked like a high snap in general.
Yeah. Either way, I suppose, as now Matt Machenbacher will line up for the kickoff. 2:04 left in this game. 38-0 lead for Shanley. As now with 3:55 left in the St. Mary's Central Cass game, it is 14-0 Bismarck St. Mary's. That ball fielded nicely at the 10-yard line there for Munanzaro. He's staying on his feet, and then, no, he's still up, finally brought down at about the 17-yard line. And Braden, took a while, but Munanzaro was able to field that one nicely.
Yeah, I was fortunate that he got that one, and it was looking like the Shanley were maybe targeting him all game long. Now that I think back about that, we didn't really talk about that, but it seems that that was the case.
And with just a minute 43 left, Wahpeton will come out, probably have the last possession of this game. I want to give one more shout-out to Wyatt Lyer, who is tuning in, and a special shout-out to Wyatt, who was the first color guy I worked with on my first football game and our first football broadcast. So, Wyatt, thanks for tuning in. They're from beginning to end, so cool to see that. Thanks again, Wyatt. Older brother of Jackson Lyer, who we have actually seen in this game, and the first D-back up when Haley Buckles went down. That's actually a name to watch going forward.
Yeah, next year he's going to be one of their key defensive backs, so that's a name to watch in the future.
And you can see him out there right now. That's number 4. So, Wohlers takes it and run up the middle now. And you know what? That's not Wohlers. They have made a change. That's Bryce Schmidt, the senior quarterback, getting the carry that time. And that's nice, you know, Braden, we talk about getting the younger players in. Sometimes it's nice to get the guys who don't play as much in, some seniors who maybe don't get to start. It's another nice thing when it's a game where it doesn't really matter as much now. Get some guys some reps. You know, you show up to practice every day, you know, 2 hours every day of the week. You deserve some playing time,
especially
I'd say.
If you're there all 4 years. You're putting a lot of dedication and work to this football program.
The guys who stay in, you know, all 4 years, like you said, show up to practice every day of the week and never get that starting shot. I mean, that takes a special kind of mentality, I'd say, to stay in for that long haul.
Yeah, a lot of people would quit and just call it quits because they didn't get that starting job, but that's a lot of respect to him for sticking to it and getting a couple plays here.
It's always fun to see that on a lot of teams. As now, Wahpeton will come to the line with 50 seconds left to go in this game. And Wahpeton has made mass substitutions now, not really any starters left in there. As Schmidt fakes the handoff, carries himself up that left side. Not making it too far, as that'll bring up 4th down. Don't think that'll be a gain, so it looks like 4th and 3. So Braden now 30 seconds left. Looks like St. Mary's is going to knock off Central Cass. Valley City had a dominant win. Jamestown in control over Devil's Lake. There's a lot of teams out there right now, Braden, that really look like they could, you know, make a run. I mean, I know Shanley's undefeated. They seem like a clear-cut number 1 right now, but there's a lot of teams waiting in the wings.
And that team, for me to watch, is Central Cass. They had a good game against Shanley, and they're just down a couple points to St. Mary's, which is another really good football team.
Right, and that will be the last play of the game. A nice stop here on the near side, and that does it for this game and for this broadcasting season of football here on Shanley TV. Braden, we kind of got into it a little bit, talking about the other teams, but before we go here, what are your thoughts, really just going forward for Shanley and now your outlook on AA?
For Shanley, they just got to go get that last win of the regular season and then playoffs begin. But for AA, I think it's going to come down to what it normally is in Shanley and Bismarck St. Mary's in that championship game later this year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Braden. You know, I think there's a strong chance we see that Shanley-St. Mary's rematch, depending on, especially it looks like St. Mary's will get that 2 seed. Looks like Shanley will likely draw Jamestown in there. They will probably only play, well, yeah, I think they're locked in now as only having to play 1 playoff game before the state championship. But Jamestown, it was a 1-point game when they played earlier in the season. You know, St. Mary's Central Cass looks like they'll be a potential rematch. Valley City's going to be a contender. It's going to be a fun playoffs. We won't be there for you with those folks, but a lot of ways to check those out, even just coming on down and checking them out yourself in person, as Shanley will have home field in the playoffs. So, a lot to look forward to this season. However, for tonight, for this season, and for our entire crew, and of course, for Braden Altringer. Braden, thank you for being a great color guy this season. I'm Jed Thomas. Your final score from Fargo, Shanley Deacons 38, Wahpeton Huskies 0. To watch the archive version of this entire game and our other broadcasts, go to ShanleyTV.com. The proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV.